Is it time to buy new zip ties? You'll probably want to after this. I'm Tim Johnson. You're watching Shop Tool Reviews. Today we have the Grip Lock ties. Now you may have seen our SEMA coverage, and we showed these Grip Lock ties in one of the day's coverage. They are really cool. Real quickly, rubber lined zip tie. So we have rubber lining that goes down each side of the zip tie. A really good locking mechanism. You can hear it click very easily. It's loud. So it locks really well. We also have a release tab where we can release these. Now there's many other features as well, so let's dig in and take a closer look. By the way, we added these to our Christmas gift guide this year, and for good reason. So if you haven't seen the Christmas gift guide, be sure to do so. We have gifts starting at $8 all the way up to thousands of dollars and a ton in between. So be sure to check that out. Let's get started. These Grip Lock ties are pretty self-explanatory as to what they do, but I think there are a couple other features that you may miss if you didn't either read on here or me just talk about it a little bit. And that is, say take a normal zip tie. So I've got a white zip tie here. If you've ever seen these in the sunlight or even under a hood that have been exposed to some heat, after months and even years of use, they will start to chalk up and they'll deteriorate. And sometimes you can just basically kind of run your finger over them and they'll break off, or if you try to move them at all, they'll break all to pieces. So the UV inhibitors are pretty weak on some of these, especially if you're buying them from the big value stores, the Harbor Freights and things like that, or buying them at the car shows in bulk. A lot of times just a little bit or a lot of bit cheaper, and they show over age when they start break all to pieces. And they seem, the white ones and colored ones seem to be the worst offenders at that. So with the Grip Lock ties, not only are they cool rubber lined ties, which I don't know if you know that yet, but I'm sure in the introduction I mentioned it. But basically we've got a really nice zip tie that's rubber lined, that we have rubber that runs down each side here for a couple of reasons. Number one, for gripping. That's going to hold really well without having to really crank down the zip tie. So really cool feature there, but it also has some UV inhibitors in it. In fact, this is DuPont Zytel nylon. So top of the line nylon. So you're getting a top of the line zip tie by itself, even without the rubber lining on there. And the lock here is pretty intense, and you can actually hear it when I pull this. So you can hear those teeth engaging. In fact, I've cut one up here. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. And I've colored the teeth there, so we get 3 teeth that's engaging, and these grooves are really deep as well. So when it's engaging in that lock, it's really getting deep into those teeth and locking that down. And again, let's see those teeth one more time. So I've cut the end off of this so you can actually see that. So anyway, so we got rubber lining, we've got some nice deep locking teeth. We also have a reusable lever here. Let me get a good one. So we've got this one that I've already zipped up. And to release this, you can just grab that lever and undo it. So there we have it. And something else I thought was pretty cool, just comes to details, if you will, is on the end of this rubber right here, you see it ramps up. That's not by accident. Every one of them do that. So when you're making that circle, that tight circle, that's even got the contour of the circle ready to kind of, hold everything in place and not be flat, but rather be in a elliptical shape. Now you can get these in 5-inch, so like we see here, so some little 5-inch zip ties. You can get them in 8.3-inch, or let's just call these 8-inch as well. And you can get them in 12-inch also. And you can get them all in different colors. So we see blue, we see red, we see orange. So many different colors that you can get. I believe you can also get some others as well. So more than I have sitting here. So if you want to, organize the different wires and things under your hood or wherever you may be using these. I know they use them on a lot of aeronautics or planes as well. So you may want to color code depending on where you're using it and what you're using it on. Number one may be wiring. So, alternator wires, battery wires, wires running to amps, audio equipment, things like that. So, you know, more so than just the wires that come in the looms from the factory, we may be running additional wires, or if we're building some sort of hot rod or restoration, we have to run wires all the time. So rather than just grabbing a wire and crimping it down, we can put a nice rubber lined zip tie on here, and it's going to grip that really well as hold and last, so the heat's not going to bother it. So you can see right there where that rubber lining is actually gripping that wire and holding it. You can see it kind of compressing, so it's contouring to the shape of that wiring and holding it really, really well. Also, another one, maybe you're running, you know, transmission lines, cooler lines, any type of AC lines, things like that, and you've got some braided hose, or you've got some brass or stainless piping, and you're needing to tie those together, or you're needing to run wires down that as well. Again, we have the ability, and we can take this one here, and tie this up, and that's going to hold really well without having to really crank that down. So now that's already gripping that, and we can run, like in this case, transmission lines. So we're wanting to run braided transmission line rather than the typical, you know, bent up stainless lines that come on it, or regular steel lines. So now we've got these braided hoses. They're locked together really well, and it's going to hold with that rubber membrane in there on those hoses. And even if I had to come along another time and we've added a wire, and maybe we wanted to power an amp or something like that, we could come in and tying that wire to those hoses. And again, it's going to grip that really well without having to really cinch that down and crush the wire or crush the hoses, and do a really good job at that. So again, you can see it really, that rubber really gripping that wire without having to really crush those hoses or zip that down really tight. And in this case, if I want to release it, I can easily pull that lever back and release it. So see right here on the zip tie is also a release lever. So if we ever use this and we need to release it, easily just flip that lever back and pull that out, and now we can reuse that zip tie. One of my favorite uses for zip ties underneath the hood, which is becoming less and less because of the type of power plants that we're using in all of our hot rods now, and that is spark plug wires, because now spark plug wires that's long for a spark plug wire. Most people are running, you know, LS coil packs or you know, coil packs right there on the plug. So anyway, we don't see a lot of plug wires anymore unless you're building a conventional small block or big block, still running a distributor. Anyway, here's my point. So you got plug wires, and when you buy those nice plug wires, you get these really high dollar little plastic thingamabobs. I don't know what you call those. I call them trash. So let me show you a cool little trick that only gets better with these grip lock zip ties. Okay, so we've got our plug wires, and let's just assume that we've got a V8 engine, and we've got our different plug wires running in the engine compartment, and we need to sort those, organize them so that they look halfway decent, or so they look good. Let's just be honest. We want it to look good. So I'm going to take one zip tie, go around all four of these, okay? And I don't want to cinch it tight. I just want to loosen it up a little bit. And here's a hint. This is when you can use your trashy zip ties, you know, the ones you bought at that discount place, or you can use the good ones too, but I'm just going to use these cheapies. And I'm going to go right here in the middle between, in this case we had 4, so in this case I'm going to go right in between, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. And I'm going to cinch that down. Not a lot. I'm not pulling it down as tight as I can, but closing up that gap a little bit. I don't want to cinch any of this up right now. We want to wait till we get all these on before we cinch any of them. Okay? Okay, and let me get one more little zip tie. So you see what we've done here. We've put a large zip tie that has collected all of them together side by side. And if we just cinch that down, it would be like a round bundle. But we don't want a round bundle. It's not what we're after here. So now I've got these 3 little zip ties that are somewhat snug. I would say barely snug there on the main zip tie. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this down a little bit more. Okay, so it's bringing these plug wires together. You see it starting to kind of bring them together, but it's keeping an oval shape and not letting it do this. It's keeping it oval from these zip ties being on here. I'll cinch these down just a little bit more, but not too much to where I can't manipulate this, because I want to roll this around the best I can. Okay. All right, and cinch this down a little more. That's probably good. And then I'll go ahead and really pull these little ones down. I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to go on down, because then we want to take care of the, say, the last 2 cylinders that are running beside each other. And I'll take a little zip tie or a little grip lock tie, and I'll give it a little zip, and then I'll take one of my cheapies here. So now I've got this all cinched down pretty good. I'll take my cutters. And I can even cut that lock and all if you're sure that's where you want it. And now look at here. That is a spark plug wire holder that mimics about as good as you can get, unless you're buying some fancy aluminum ones. But let's face it, for a few cents, now you've organized these plug wires. And even down here to this pair, you could do the other pair all the way down till you get to 1. Of course, you wouldn't need 1 on 1. But anyway, just a cool way of really organizing your plug wires that looks really good, and you get a little color accent on the grip lock ties as well. And that's holding really well. That's going to look really good in the engine compartment, I'm telling you. Trust me, I wouldn't lie to you. Anyway, I've used this for decades. It was a great tip. I think I found this in Hot Rod Magazine like 25 years ago at least, or may have been one of my dad's old racing tricks. But anyway, just a cool way to organize your plug wires with zip ties, or better yet, with grip lock ties. Now, as you can see, you can get these in a variety of colors, from blue to red to orange, and I believe there's others as well, and you can get them everything from 5-inch all the way up to 12-inch. So just a great assortment of different zip ties. For 40 of these, I think the 40 12-inch, 40 of them are, I believe, is $20 on Amazon. So you can buy them on Amazon, or you can go to griplockties.com and buy them there as well. We'll have a link in the description to them. Just a great idea for a gift or for yourself. I'm telling you, they have many uses. We love them for spark plug wires. We love them for plumbing or running, heater hoses, transmission lines, fuel lines, things like that. Going to hold really well. It's going to have great UV inhibitors, and they don't cost a whole bunch of money. Yes, they're more expensive than your typical zip ties, but I think that's probably one where you can splurge a little bit and you're still not, breaking the bank. It's not like you're buying a set of forged pistons or anything. Not that anybody would need that. Anyway, check out Grip Lock Ties at griplockties.com. And if you don't mind, would you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already? And by all means, as always, if you hated our video, give us a thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day, and Merry Christmas.